Welcome to the Live Unrestricted podcast, a show where you'll learn how to heal your relationship with food and your body so that you can focus your time and energy on more important things like your personal growth. I'm your host, Sabrina Magna, food freedom coach, and my mission is to help make your life happier and healthier without stress, overwhelm, or guilt about food. If you love the show, please do go out and share it. And if you're looking for support with your relationship with food, details about my programs are in the show notes. Thanks for spending time with me today. Now let's jump in. All right. So I am about to overshare as fuck in this episode, and I am very nervous. And I'm going to try to get through it without getting emotional. And I was so nervous to record this episode that I just forced myself to press play and just go for it, because I could have found so many reasons why I shouldn't open up about this. So I'm going to tell you about pretty big breakdown that I had a little over 2.5 months ago that I haven't talked about in depth. I've kind of put out some few breadcrumbs and talked a little bit about things that I was experiencing and moments where I had a little bit of a breakdown, but not to the extent of how hard it really was. And I'm not completely out of it, but definitely that breakdown led to some really important changes that I had to make in my life and in my business. And I am fighting every fiber in my being that is telling me that no one cares. And I have this belief that no one cares about what's going on in my life or what I have to say, and always to make these episodes about you and let me teach you something and let me give you strategies when it comes to food. And there is a place for those episodes, but I'm going to share this with you because there are lessons that apply to you. There are things that I know that you're going to be able to relate to. And so I'm going to put the fear aside and I'm going to put the beliefs aside, and I'm going to share this anyways. And I feel like the podcast is the best place to do that because I trust you guys. I have an amazing community here on the podcast, and I don't think I've ever gotten any negative messages from the people who listen, from you guys. You are so amazing. I have one of the most amazing podcast communities, and sharing what I'm about to share on social media, it's so much more vulnerable, and you're risking being shown to the cesspool of Instagram. And it's people who don't know you, people who will make assumptions and kind of take out pieces. And I just don't want that right now. I also want to say that for a lot of you who will listen to this, you might think, oh, well, it's not that big of a deal to share about the challenges that I've been going through and the things I've had to face about myself and the way that I've been showing up and running my business. It's not that big of a deal. And the reality is that it's not. There are such worse problems to have, but I am recording this episode to overcome and conquer fears and beliefs about me needing to look perfect and me feeling like if I let people in to the extent of the fears that have run me and the beliefs that I've had about myself and the ways that I've been running my business in a way that really did not feel good, if I let people in, then they will see me differently, or I won't look as credible, or whatever stories my ego and my mind has created. And so I'm done. I'm done listening to those beliefs and those stories, and I'm done letting them run the decisions and make the decisions for me. Like I'm done with that. And so that's why I'm recording this episode. So let me just rewind. So in March 2026, on March 11th, I remember the date, I had a really big breakdown in my business. And when I say breakdown, I've had multiple of these, too many to count, too many that I should have had in 6 years of running a business. And these breakdowns look like me having a couple of days that build up of chronic dysregulation and anxiety in my body. They're often surrounding launches or big projects that I'm doing in the business that require visibility and risk and putting myself out there. And the anxiety, the fear, the dysregulation in my body will gradually build up for a couple of days to a point that I struggle to focus on anything, that I can't really go through the day without this pit in my stomach and this pressure on my chest. And that will build up until eventually the dam breaks and I break down into what you could call a anxiety attack. And I cry uncontrollably. There's part of me. So if you've been listening to the podcast, then you know that I talk a lot about different parts of you. It's from internal family systems therapy. And there is a part of me that literally hijacks my system and consumes me with fear and worst case thinking, and my beliefs about myself and about who I am in business and as a coach get extremely, extremely negative. And negative is not even a word that fully describes the extent of the self-talk. And I will usually crawl up in a ball on my bed. I cannot stop crying. And when I say this is a pattern, it is a running joke, a sad joke, but it is a running joke with me and my business girlfriends. Oh, I had a mental breakdown last month, or celebrating, oh, I haven't had a mental breakdown in a full month now. It was a running joke. And I look back on it now and I just think, wow, how did you not think that was a red flag? But I would have these recurringly once a month, maybe once every 2 months, where I would think that things were going well and I was regulated and I was really working on my wounds. And, you know, running a business, especially a personal brand like me, where you are the business, it is personal development on steroids. I mean, I overcame eating disorders. I overcame body dysmorphia, exercise addiction, something that I struggled with for years. And I look back at overcoming that and running a business. And running a business is in its own league to the side. And I'm not saying that overcoming eating disorders and disordered eating is easy. No, it is fucking hard. And running a business, you can't hide. If you want to be successful, you cannot hide anything. You can't hide your wounds. You can't hide your fears, because if you try to hide your fears, then your fears will run you and you won't show up on social media. You won't show up on this podcast sharing a really vulnerable story that makes me want to vomit right now. You won't show up on coaching calls. You won't show up on launches where you're in front of a lot of people. The fear will stop you. So you have no choice but to look at yourself, look at your wounds. And I will say over the past couple of years, I have looked at them a lot. Of course, I've overcome a lot of my fears and my beliefs about myself, but there are still a lot there. And in March of 2026, so a couple of months ago, I had a breakdown where it was so bad and work had been causing so much stress and so much anxiety in my life that I had this moment where I realized I have two options. Either I completely change the entire way that I've been running my business, or I can't do this anymore. It is impacting my life, my mental health way too much that I can't keep doing this anymore. And the thing is that because I make a lot of efforts to keep a balanced life where I would have a social life and I was still working out and I was still eating well, like my physical health was not deteriorating. I was sleeping well, but this low grade anxiety all the time and waking up and immediately feeling like a failure, I couldn't keep doing that anymore. I started this business because I wanted to help people. I wanted to have freedom and I wanted to enjoy my job ultimately. And now my job was creating more pain in my life than I was willing to keep living by. And what had really happened that led to this breakdown, which this is a lesson for you. So listen up, because even if you don't run a business, this will apply to you. I had hired I've hired multiple business coaches over the past 6 years, multiple of them. And some have been really great and some have been a little less great. And what had happened through all of these different business coaches and from having a personality of being the good student, I was always the good student. I did well in school. I am so coachable. If you tell me to do something a certain way, and you tell me if you just do this, it's going to succeed, I will do it. And I will keep doing it, and I will keep pushing, and I will completely disregard how I feel, how it feels in my body. I will put all of that aside. If someone tells me to do it, I will do it. So I hired a new business coach in October, and it was two people, and I have nothing bad to say about them. They're amazing, amazing coaches, amazing coaches. The thing is, it's my thing, my issue, my thing to work through is I did not trust myself. I did not trust myself to make business decisions. I did not prioritize doing things that felt good, that felt fun, that felt aligned with me. I just looked around at what other people were doing and noticed now the parallel with maybe where you're at. I just looked at what other people were doing, people who were successful, who I looked up to, and I asked myself, okay, well, what are they doing? And let me just do that. And so ultimately, I had been running my business for 6 years on and off. I don't want to say that I was always giving away my power and letting the outside world dictate what I was doing, not 100% of the time, but the dominant energy that I was bringing into my business was I do not trust myself. I do not listen to myself. And I will just do what other people tell me I should do. If they tell me it's going to be successful, then I will do it. So I was encouraged to do weekly trainings, weekly workshops. And so I started doing them. And you may have come to one of them. And again, I just want to pause and say, I feel so vulnerable right now. And I kind of want to cry. And my nervous system wants me to run away right now. And I'm just going to keep going because I'm not going to die. I'm not going to die. So I started doing these weekly workshops, and I would wake up on Wednesdays, the day of my workshops, and I would feel so anxious. Oh my God, I felt so anxious. And I started dreading Wednesdays. And I was so tired. I did this for months, you guys. Doing a live workshop in front of hundreds of people every week is extremely difficult on your nervous system. It's very exhausting. And I would finish the workshop, and then immediately after, I would go back to the drawing board and think, okay, what do I want to do next week? What am I going to change? How am I going to make it better? And I was really encouraged to do this weekly. Just keep doing it. Just keep learning. Just keep getting data. And I did learn a lot. But I completely ignored all of the signals from my body about whether this was the right path for me, and if it felt good for me, and if it was sustainable for me. I did not listen. And what ended up happening is I was chronically busy. I was on this hamster wheel of, I can't stop. I'm just going to do these workshops every week and I can't stop. And I think another thing that's important to talk about is I wasn't like desperate for money. I'm fine financially, but my nervous system did not recognize that. My nervous system had this conditioning in this program that if I slowed down, then I would end up on the streets. I would have no business. I would have to move back in with my parents. It would get so bleak. And what was the most frustrating for me is that so many things. Number one, I know so much about the nervous system. Number two, I'm very self-aware. I was journaling. I was meditating. I was talking to my friends. I was talking to Luke. I was talking to my coaches. Like I was doing all the things, and I knew that it was nonsensical. I knew that it was not logical. I knew intellectually, Sabrina, you're fine. Like you have so much money to fall back on. You're not dying for money. Like your business is making money. Like it was all, I knew all of that, but my nervous system was in complete poverty mode. And think about yourself and ways in which you might know something logically, but your nervous system feels like it's dying. It feels like if you don't do something about this now, then you will die. You will end up alone. You will end up in the hospital, whatever the story is. And so I was moving through my life with this program running without my approval that I cannot stop. I just have to keep going. And you may have heard me say this before, but when there's something in your life, when there is a pattern in your life that needs to be looked at, that is causing so much pain in your life and needs to be healed, life will first throw you a pebble. And so you will start to feel a little bit of pain or discomfort or anxiety. And
if you don't pay attention to that pebble, then it's going to throw you a rock. So it's going to start to feel more painful and more disruptive to your life. And if you still don't pay attention, then life will throw you a boulder. And that boulder could be a loss, a diagnosis, losing your job, losing a partner. It could be just a complete breakdown where you are so unwell mentally or emotionally that you have no choice but to change, because in my case, it was you change or you quit your business, because at this point, this is not sustainable and this is going to rob you of your life. And I had to receive probably 20 boulders, 20 breakdowns too many in order to pay attention. I look back on it and I had normalized those breakdowns. I was like, oh, I know what to do. I'm going to be hijacked by fear and anxiety. I'm going to cry for hours. Luke is going to hold me while I cry. Just a little shout out to Luke. He is a warrior. I could cry. I would not still be running this business if it wasn't for that man. He is such a rock. And all of those times where I was in a fetal position on the bed, he would just hold me for hours and he would let me cry. And oh God, I'm going to try my best not to cry. So I normalized it. I thought, this is the cost of running a business. You're going to have these breakdowns every couple of weeks. And those were boulders. Those were boulders of life telling me, you can't keep going like this. There are things that you need to change, show up. And I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what I needed to change. And that was the hardest thing. I knew that it was so painful and it was so uncomfortable, but I did not know what needed to change. So finally, on March 11th, I had that breakdown and I realized, okay, I need to slow the fuck down. Like, I need to get off of this hamster wheel of constantly feeling like I need to be producing and I need to be doing, and I need to slow down. And that was so scary for my nervous system. And again, I want to relate it back to you. What this might look like for you is feeling like you always need to be jumping from one plan to another. I need to do this diet. I need to get back on track. I need to follow the rules. I need to restrict. I need to do all of these things. And if I slow down, if I focus on healing, if I move away from the rigid control and I slow down to look at, whoa, what is driving this? What are the beliefs? What are the emotions? What are the patterns in my life that are perpetuating these same cycles over and over again? It might feel like your nervous system won't let you because it is so afraid of what might happen. It is so afraid that you might gain weight as a result of that. And so you stay on this fucking hamster wheel over and over and over again, repeating the same patterns, feeling like shit about yourself. And this is talking from experience. And I had to go against the conditioning that was telling me, just keep going, and you're going to be fine. I knew that I didn't want to run a business where I couldn't slow down. I didn't want 10 years from now to never be able to take a break or to be doing workshops every single week. I didn't want that. And for you, do you want 10 years from now to never be able to stop counting calories or to stop restricting, to never be able to enjoy the foods that you love ever because you can't trust yourself around them? No. And so I knew, well, the only way for me to show my nervous system that it is safe to slow down is for me to do it. It really is as simple as that. So I told myself, I'm giving myself a full month. And the whole purpose of this month is to figure out what needs to change in my business, realign my business so that it is something that I enjoy. It is something that reflects who I am, what I want, and I need to figure my shit out, basically. So for an entire month, I would go out, I would go to coffee shops. I wasn't actively selling anything. And you may have seen that I've been on social media less. Like I really gave myself time and space where I wasn't actively creating anything. And I was going inwards and I was getting curious about what happened here. How did I get here? How did I get to this point in my business where things feel so hard and so heavy and so unaligned? And basically what I ended up realizing is I had created someone else's business. I had been so focused on getting it quote unquote right. And that's where that perfectionism came through. And this binary thinking that there is a right way to run your business and a wrong way to run your business. And again, I knew intellectually that that's not the case because I have so many business friends and I know so many businesses out there who are similar to mine, and everyone's doing it differently. And so many different ways of running your business can be successful. And I knew that intellectually, but again, my nervous system did not know that. The only way it felt safe was do what other people are doing, do what is the right thing. And even when I was creating, I would get in such perfectionism, like it needs to be perfect or else people are going to say something. And can you imagine? I know that you can. I know that you can because we're all the same. We're all fucking wired the same way. It's so debilitating to live that way, to constantly be thinking about, oh my God, is this going to be right? How are people going to perceive this? It's like walking around with 100,000-pound backpack and it's so heavy. And I had created this business that was so out of alignment with who I am, who I've become. I've been running this business for 6 years. I have changed so much in the span of 6 years. I have changed as a person. I have changed as a coach. I have learned so much the way that I teach and I coach people, how deep I go, like all of that has evolved so much over time. And the business I had did not reflect my growth. It did not reflect who I am now versus who I was in 2020. And this is this concept that there are parts of you that get stuck and frozen in the past. And until you update that version of you and you show her, this is where I am now. This is who I am now. This is what's safe. This is what I can do. Then you're going to continue feeling stuck and feeling frustrated and being on this hamster wheel. So I went through an entire rebuild of my business, and I'm still going through it, where I stopped doing live workshops. I changed the way that I want to provide free resources to people. I've actually been working on a free 3-part mini course over the past 6 weeks. And that's probably why I know you don't actually see me on social media that much. So I know that you haven't noticed my absence, but I have been less on it because I've been so concentrated on creating this mini course. I wanted to create something that was free that can actually really, really help people, and that reflects the depth of what I teach my clients, what will actually help you change. It's called Decode Your Food Noise, and it's a 3-part. So there's 3 lessons, and I go deep into helping you understand why you can't stop thinking about food. What are the underlying drivers and what actually needs to shift on a deep subconscious nervous system identity level for you to get to a place where your baseline is food freedom. Like your new normal is eating with ease, eating intuitively, eating with peace, and you leave like the food struggle is left in your past life. Like that's not who you are anymore. And that's how I feel when I think about the version of me who had an eating disorder. That's not me anymore. That's a completely different version of me. And that's also why I never have the fear that it's going to come back, because it's not me. I don't relate to that person anymore. And that's what I do with my clients. And I wanted to offer this opportunity for people to get access to at least a sliver of these teachings for free so that you can start moving in the right direction. So I started working on this course. It was a lot of work. I finished it yesterday after 6 weeks of working on it. It's going to go live in a couple of days. And so by the time this episode gets released, it will be live and you can actually have access to it. You can be one of the first people to go through it. So like I said, it's called Decode Your Food Noise. I'll put the link in the show notes and do all of that stuff. You can go to sabrinamagnan.com/decode/podcast. That's not what this episode is about, but just to give you the opportunity to get into that mini course, go through the entire thing, do the exercises, put time in your calendar to watch it, treat it like you paid $10,000 for it. Trust me, if you take this mini course seriously, you will have a breakthrough in your relationship with food. I say that with complete confidence, especially if you like listening to this podcast. You're going to love this mini course. And what's really different about the way that I started approaching my business is I started listening to myself. And to say it out loud sounds a little embarrassing because this is literally what I tell my clients all the time. Listen to yourself, right? What does your body say? How does it respond to this? What's your intuition saying? And I slowed down enough and I gave myself enough space to ask myself, how do I actually want to run this business in a way that it's not going to run me into the ground and burn me out, in a way that is right for me? Because every business owner is different. Every person is different. The way that I want to run my business and I want to show up for it is going to have my unique energetic signature to it. And the way that you're going to live your life, the way you're going to eat, the way you're going to meal prep, the way you're going to move your body, the way you're going to take care of yourself, your habits, your lifestyle, your routine, your hobbies, your joys, your passions, that's going to be unique to you. But in a world where we are constantly exposed to quote unquote success and what it looks like or what it should look like on the outside, we lose ourselves. We stop trusting ourselves and we let other people dictate how we're going to live our lives. And we give so much power away to other people's opinions. How sad is that? You're the most important person in your own life, and you don't even care about your own opinion or what feels good for you. And I'm just talking for myself right now, and some of you might be able to relate to this, but I was giving so much of my power away. And it's hard for me to admit that because I teach on this. And I was going back and forth yesterday of, should I actually share this and record this podcast? And then I realized, just because I have my own demons and just because I am working through my own shit, it does not make me any less of a coach or a person who can help people with disordered eating. Let me tell you, running a business and going through these challenges has made me a million times better of a coach. Because even though I'm not going through the same struggles with food or my body anymore, it's all the same. The way we think, the way our nervous systems try to drive the bus, it is all the same. And every day it is a battle of, okay, which fear do I conquer today? How do I get out of my comfort zone today? And my goal is to show you that it's possible, that you don't have to let fear run your life, and that when you do conquer fear and when you do the thing that goes against what your ego or your nervous system is telling you that you should do in order to stay safe, when you start learning about the way that your body is just trying to help you survive and you can work with it instead of against it, then, you might have to experience a few boulders like I did, but eventually your breakdown will lead to a breakthrough. And I have said this before, and I believe it to my core. And I even knew when I had that breakdown, I don't know how long this is going to take. I don't know, if I'm going to have some lessons from this in a month or 6 months. I don't know. All I know is that I am going to follow the thread, and I'm going to allow myself to slow down and to look inwards and to extract whatever lessons and changes that I need to make in my business in order to feel like this is mine and I feel really good about it. And I am so glad that I did that, because everything is getting teared down and rebuilt right now. I have this mini course, which is coming out. I'm going to be changing the way that I approach social media as well. Social media is going to be my next battle to conquer, because showing up as yourself and letting down all of your walls of protection and saying, this is who I am, like me or not, follow me or not, and not caring about what happens is a beast that is hard to describe to anyone who has not experienced it before. And it's funny because Luke, I'm encouraging him, and he wants to do it as well, to start an Instagram account. And he started realizing how much fear was coming up around it. And I was like, welcome, babe. Welcome to the world of showing up on social media and showing up in a business context. It will show you all of your fears right in the mirror. And so that's my next battle, to my battle with fear, I guess you could say, is going to be social media, to allow myself to be more of myself. Because one thing I love about this podcast is you're getting me. I mean, I cry, I laugh, I want to cry again. You're getting all of the versions of me. And I've only gotten so much love from people who listen. And if showing up as my imperfect self is going to help you show up as your imperfect self, then I guess that I've got to do more of that. And, I talk about being a recovering perfectionist, but recovering is a strong word. It's something that I have to work on every day. But every day that I do work on it, I grow. And there is a new version of me on the other side of it. If you are at that point in your life where you are feeling the boulders and you know that something is trying to get your attention, that either multiple breakdowns have already happened or a breakdown is on its way, I want to encourage you to listen, because it's not going away. It's just going to get more and more painful until you pay attention. And I wish that it had not taken me 20 extra breakdowns in order to do this, because I cannot tell you how grateful I am to have slowed down and looked inwards and started doing this reinvention of myself. It feels so much better. I mean, just to give you an idea, I was so scared of slowing down and not actively being on this hamster wheel. I was scared that I was, like I said before, going to end up on the streets, having to move back in with my parents. And what ended up actually happening is I stopped actively selling or doing any kind of launches. Since then, I have not. And my income in my business has increased by 60% by not doing anything. So that, it gave my nervous system evidence that it is safe for me to slow down. And it gives me that encouragement that when you build a life, when you build a business that is in alignment with you, that feels good for you, you will be compensated. You will be celebrated. And so please, if there's one thing I want you to take away from this episode, if your life is not feeling good right now, and you know that it's because of things that you have control over, that whether it's friendships or your own relationship with yourself or with food or with your body, or relationships in your life, it really doesn't matter. If there's something that does not feel good regularly and your life does not feel in alignment, then please pay attention. Look inwards. Slow down. Get off the hamster wheel. Give yourself time. If you need to reinvent yourself, give yourself time. And the person you come out as on the other side, you won't recognize her. She is going to be so much more at peace, so much more calm, so much more regulated, happier. I still have challenges, of course. I'm still working through things, but oh my goodness, that was one of the biggest breakdown to breakthrough path that I've had in a long time. I mean, building and working and growing this business for 6 years and getting to that place where you don't know if you can keep doing this anymore, not having a plan B, not having any other thing that I wanted to do. That was really, really scary, really terrifying. And so I knew something has to change. So thank you for holding space for me. If you listened all the way through, I really appreciate you. This was uncomfortable for me to share because the entire time I felt so self-centered and like it's me, it's all about me. But I know deep down that there are lessons for you in there. And if you listened all the way through and you just want to send me a message, an email, Instagram DM to let me know what resonated with you, if there's any lessons that you were able to take away from that, I would really love that. And yeah, just thank you. And I love you. And I'm so excited for what this new version of me and my business is about to step into. So if you want to be one of the first people to get into my brand new free mini course, Decode Your Food Noise. And I know that I'm on the right path because I'm so freaking excited about it. I'm so excited for people to go through it, to get these breakthroughs. You can go to the show notes or sabrinamagnan.com/decode-podcast. All right. I love you, and I will see you on the next episode.
Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. If you found it valuable, I would love if you would share it with someone you know that could benefit. If you're loving the show, don't forget to subscribe over on Apple Podcasts so you don't miss a single episode. I really love hearing feedback from you, so please leave a rating and review over on Apple to help us get in the ears of more people who need it the most. Finally, come hang out with me on Instagram at Sabrina Magnan Health for more educational content and get up close and personal with me. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you on the next episode.